I'll swing it over here and tell you guys it's legit almost midnight at the time of filming this shoe review. Welcome back to the vlog, everyone. My name is Filip Latocha, and tonight we are going to be reviewing the Nike Infinity React Run Flyknit after 50 plus miles. So before we get into it, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Lots of cool stuff coming up, of course, as the 2021 season starts kind of unfolding, and we get some other cool stuff like travel vlogs and training vlogs kind of situated in the next few weeks or so, maybe even less, depends. In addition to that, make sure you comment down below if you own the React Infinity Run Flyknit 2, your overall experience with the shoe as it compares to my assessment of it. I guess we can hold on to that till the end of the video, but without further ado, let's get into it. So first things first, let's talk specs. The shoe on average weighs about 11 ounces, which is about 310 to 315 grams, give or take. This is a size 8.5, so it's going to go slightly less than that, maybe like 10.8, 10.9 ounces. Not a huge difference on that aspect. The point is the shoe is relatively heavy compared to your daily trainer. Also on that note, the shoe offset between the heel and the forefoot is about 8 millimeters, putting the heel at about 30 millimeter stack height and the forefoot at about 22, giving you that 8 millimeter offset, of course. And those are the general specs you need to know about the shoe. Relatively speaking, it is very similar to the original Infinity React Run Flyknit. The only difference is just kind of the design features and the weight, of course, on that end. So let's go talk about the bottoms. So as I said, it is very similar to the original React Infinity Run Flyknit in the sense that this is just React running all the way across the bottoms and the insole. The rubber pattern seems to be extremely similar. Are there any major differences? At this point in time, not really. It is functioning pretty much the way I recall the React Infinity Run Flyknit 1 in terms of road running and grip and all that stuff. So it's not really something unusual on that front. I think where the real stuff begins is mostly in this upper area, as you probably suspect. If you've seen my two other entries on the shoe, you would know that basically this shoe is trying to improve on some things that they've trialed and errored in the first shoe that didn't work out all too well or had some questions about. So that's kind of what's going on here. In this upper, it is still retaining the Flyknit nature of the shoe, but the Flyknit patterns are different on various pieces of the shoe. So of course in this toe box area, they have a very thin translucent Flyknit, this particular area right here, so it of course breathes in the foot. It's not totally locked out of air, and that's kind of a good thing overall. You want some breathability in your shoe, depending on the weather conditions, of course. That same breathability is here on the side pocket of the shoe here, and also on the inside. For the most part, that's pretty good, I would say. In terms of the side here, in this forefoot area, toe box, forefront, I would say, it is a lot more reinforced, and my guess is this is because previous React Infinity Run Flyknits maybe had people tearing the shoes at some points while running in them. Not 100% sure. I have not torn mine in this particular area, or let alone at all, I think. They don't look really torn. Maybe others have torn it, and that's probably what's resulted in this particular design. And then, of course, the unique Flyknit stitching is here by the big toe, which is extra reinforced with both this top Flyknit material and this side Flyknit. So I'm going to guess that maybe the big toe has broken out for some people on their React Infinity runs back in the day. Can't be 100% sure though, but I digress. In the shoelace area, they are not asymmetrical, they're just running straight across. No issue with that. I think that's how the old Flyknit was also running previously, so I guess it works out just fine. The major difference, of course, is that they have this Nike signature insignia for the Infinity that is running shoelaces for the shoe, and this is where the big changes start to occur in this shoe collar area and this lock of the shoe with the shoelaces. So of course, because now they've added two extra shoelace ties here closer to the front of your upper leg area, I'm guessing this is going to lock the shoe down better in the long run, no pun intended. And so far, I haven't played around with tying a runner's knot or using the other runner variation where you do use this hole to tie your shoe. But the access of having this shoelace hole just by itself with the shoes running through it is good enough for me to experience the lock that the previous React Infinity run did not have. So overall, that's working pretty well. It's a snug fit now. It's not loose. You're not feeling like you're going to fly out of the shoe at some points. So this is working out pretty well as a standard. Of course, in the shoe collar here now, it seems to have the same dip as the previous rendition of the shoe, except it's got a lot more plush and a lot more cushion surrounding your foot, and especially here in the Achilles heel. There is no Achilles pillow that's like, you know, sticking out, but it is just cushion all the way across. And that is also a good play, in my opinion, because the previous React Infinity run did not have this, and that lock did not exist on your foot overall. So when you were taking sharp turns, it did feel like your heel was going to fly out of the shoe, pretty much. So I guess that's where we can stand here with the React Infinity run in terms of specs and some of my thoughts on the specs. Let's talk about 50 miles deep. So as you guys probably expect, there's not a whole lot of crazy wear on these shoes. They are dirty, nevertheless. Today's running conditions in Chicago, I'll post my Strava results here, or last night in this case, yesterday's Strava results with these shoes. The conditions were kind of wet, kind of snowy, but not a whole lot of stuff going on. I think it's Monday that we're supposed to get a lot of snow, at least at the time of this filming. The only area that seems to be experiencing a little bit of shred here is the very forefoot area of my right foot. As I expected, the toe box area is kind of experiencing something. It's nothing substantial so far. The left foot is not experiencing the same thing. It's experiencing just dirt, just use, general use for that matter, and it's not so bad. But if we are looking at the right foot, as you've probably seen most of my previous videos, the area that we typically care about is this area right here, which is like this weird striking zone that I have that just has like an excessive impact on the shoe, and so far the rubber is still intact. There isn't a whole lot of beat down on it, so I'm going to say that 50 miles in, the shoe is still surviving, which is great because the Tempo Next Percent has a weird rep of obviously breaking at 50 plus miles in my case. So despite this being a regular running shoe and the Tempo Next Percent being this alien shoe that it is, this is a surprise to me that a shoe can handle 50 plus miles. Imagine my standards on that front. So, yeah, what else can we say about the shoe in terms of its ride? Well, the big thing for sure is the shoe is heavy. It doesn't feel nearly as heavy as it is, but here's the caveat. You're probably not going to use this for a tempo run, and here's why. This React foam is what it is. It's React, so it's not going to necessarily give you this drive that something like a Zoom X or a carbon plate combination is going to give you. But what this shoe does really well, from my experience with it here, is if you imagine yourself like a car. Let's say you're a 6-cylinder engine of some sort, right? Most of the time, if you run in any kind of everyday trainer, you can get to like through the first, through the fourth, and sometimes you can hit the 6th gear. Basically, whenever you want during that run if the shoe allows you to. The same thing applies here, except this shoe seems to have a really great performance when you're in your 3rd gear and maybe even the 2nd gear. So I'm basically just saying like you're in your everyday training pace. If you're just slightly above the everyday training but not quite tempo, you're going to have a good time with the shoe because the React is very consistent. And what I mean by that is like you're not going to feel like you're slowing down in the middle of your run, but you're also not going to feel like you're speeding up. So whatever you put in is pretty much what you're going to get out of this particular shoe. It's not going to give you some kind of speed efficiency that like a carbon plate shoe would give you with some kind of spring. The compression and decompression of the React ultimately keeps you pretty neutral in terms of return, and I think that works overall when you're trying to have just an everyday recovery run, and when you're trying to run slow or slower than usual, you're not going to get pushed by the shoe into paces that you don't want to handle for that day. So overall, this is a fantastic everyday to recovery trainer, as I've mentioned in my previous comparison of the shoe and my first impressions run. It's just, it's exactly what I expected the shoe to ultimately do. And I don't think I can ask for any more, and I don't think I ever have in that sense with the React Infinity Run series. I know last year when I had the first Infinity Reacts, I thought they were so fast, and they were like absolutely fun to race in. But the caveat then was I was in such a good fitness because I was training for Tokyo that like I can bust out 6-minute miles like in any shoe and it would just feel awesome. But then as that fitness started to decrease, then I had to start changing up shoes and I started experiencing the differences between all of them a little bit more. So overall, like I said, the shoe is definitely great for your everyday runs. You should probably not use it for racing. If you want to use it for tempos, I mean, be my guest. I'm not going to stop you, but it's probably not something you should have in your tempo arsenal, just in my opinion. And yeah, so far 50 miles deep. I mean, I can't really say anything else bad about the shoe. We're still learning about it. It's still young. It's still fresh in my lineup. I think the last thing we do have to address, now it's definitely too late. I'm probably not going to edit it in to the video in terms of putting it forward. We're just going to mention it now. This shield guard here definitely remained the same between both shoes. Just the way the material they used to design it is different. So this is like a shiny rubber, whereas the other one was like more of a plastic kind of feel. The purpose of this, of course, is to have this heel lock and have some stability in the shoe. That, of course, in tandem with the React, gives you kind of this stable training everyday pace with it. So glad I addressed that at the end of this video, huh? Okay, so that's all I've got for now. 50 miles deep. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tell me how you feel about this shoe, if you've got more than 50 plus miles on it. Have you destroyed it yet? Is it possible to destroy 50 plus miles in? I don't know. You guys let me know. So I think we're going to leave it at that. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. I'll see you guys real soon.